We want to keep our jobs, and in order to do that, we need to show the progress and value of our work to our leadership, our team, and the company. Personally, I have a task each week to share a report on my work. It's a repetitive task that doesn't take much time, but it's tedious and boring. So naturally, as a developer, I thought maybe I can automate this, and that's where this classic meme comes into play. Speaking of classic meme, it's this one. You see, as the meme shows, oftentimes developers will look at a task like the one that I have and think automating this will save time in the long run. However, the return on investment never really proves valuable in the end. Instead, you end up spending more time than if you just kept doing the task manually yourself. But what if AI can help? Could it truly solve this meme and finally create the ROI so many developers seek? Stick around to the end of this video to find out. All right, so here I've laid out a rough outline of the plan we're gonna follow to determine whether AI can truly solve this meme of automating things. And first, we're gonna talk about the context and the parameters we're gonna be working within to help isolate the situation and help us figure out how to best determine this. Then we're gonna go into timing things manually to see what that is so that we have a baseline to compare against. From there, we're gonna build out the automation with AI to try and solve gathering the data that we need and then determine the outcome. So let's start with the context and parameters. First off, I want to call out that there are many variations of this meme and I find them all to be funny. The one that I chose just to demonstrate the beginning of it is this classic one, but there's other variations of it, like this one where it's like, hey, spend 10 minutes doing task manually, instead spend 10 hours writing code to automate it, right? There's this one here. Programmers, when they build a program in 10 hours just to perform a task that would take them 10 minutes. This is why I call it out to be the classic meme. But the two things that I want to point out around this meme that really help describe the problem that's happening here is what XKCD has produced for us. There's two of them that I want to point out to you. The first one is this. It's XKCD number 1319 if you want to check it out yourself. And it's, I spend a lot of time on this task. I should write a program automating it. The theory is you write the code, you get down here and automation takes over, and then the work it takes to produce the end result gives you this free time. And then the reality down here is you end up spending more time doing the development than you are doing the manual task. Now, this leads us to how do we measure this? How do we figure out if it is worth our time to try and automate this thing? Or what is the limits that we have to work within to get that return on investment? So this XKCD helps us determine if something is worth the time to automate it. If you look at it, it's based on what you would save across 5 years. So at first glance, it's a little bit hard to read, but if we focus on just the yearly column and the 1 day row, you get an idea of what's happening here. If something takes me 1 day, a year to do, and I eliminate that time needed to do that task, I'll save 5 days over 5 years, or 1 day a year. So in this case, for the report I have to produce, it takes me less than 30 minutes, but let's say 30 minutes in this case on a weekly basis. So over 5 years, that will save me 5 days. So the idea here is whatever's inside of these boxes, if it takes me more than that time to automate the task, which is on the left-hand side, the time for that task, then it's not worth the return on investment. So for this report that I have to produce on a weekly basis, if I get it done in less than 5 days, then I am getting a return on my investment here. I'm saving time in the long run. Now, the idea is this is going to take less time in this short video that we're producing here because of AI helping to accelerate that. That is the theory. All right, so with that said, let's talk about what we're going to try and automate. I've been mentioning this report. Here is an example of this report from back in February 3rd when I had to report on this. What I'm doing is I'm gathering what video we released over the week, that's a main video, and then the 5 supporting YouTube Shorts videos that we released along with that. So 6 videos in a week, and then we see how the videos have been performing week over week in this first section here, the weekly stats. Then overall, since we started doing these new video series, which thank you for watching these, by the way, since April 8th of last year, and then overall the total channel video stats. This right here is limited to just the videos we've been producing as part of this new program. And this down here is our overall total video performance on the channel, regardless of whether it's part of the program or not. So the idea is instead of me manually gathering this information to put into the report off of YouTube, Let's automate that and have AI help us do it. All right, so now that we're familiar with this report and we understand the data needed to produce it, let's talk about the constraints we're going to be working within for this experiment. First of all, I'm going to be working with my own YouTube account and not using the Snyk official account for the purposes of this video. Second of all, we're not going to be using the YouTube API. In my personal experimentation on this outside of this video, I found the API documentation to be challenging and complex to work within, let alone have AI try to give me the right answers for that sort of thing. So instead, we're going to be just scraping the HTML data from the YouTube account that we're logged into. And last but not least, we're going to be focusing on specific data that's part of this report and not all of the report. So for the purpose of the video, we're going to be focusing on capturing and automating getting this data for the latest video and shorts that have been produced in the last week, the weekly stats, and then just the all channel stats. Because my personal YouTube account, we don't have a program of videos that we're working on like we do for the Snyk account. And those are the constraints we're going to be working within for this experiment. All right, now comes the time where we want to get a foundation for how much time it takes me to do the task manually, so we have something to compare against and see if we are getting this return on investment. So editor, let's start the clock and see how long it takes me to do this starting now. All right, pause for a second. That alone, just gathering the videos, took me about 3 minutes. And, you know, I could have maybe done that a little bit faster using keyboard shortcuts and whatnot, but generally speaking, that's what it's going to take me on average just to get the videos that were released over the past, let's say, week, okay? Using that as an experiment. Next up is to get all the data, the analytics data for the week over week and total video stats. So let's go ahead and do that now. We're going to keep timing this editor, continue the timer, starting now. Okay, so in total, that took me about 7 minutes, and that was not for the whole report that I normally do for Snyk. Keep in mind that that's just a limited portion of the report that I do because we're using my own personal account for this video. So 7 minutes, maybe double that, around there. Like I said before, when I've timed myself manually doing the Snyk report, it takes me somewhere around 20 to 30 minutes to get all the data, put it into the report, and then share it out with my leadership and team. Let's say that took about 10 minutes total to get that done manually. So the next thing to think about is like, what if I were to build this out manually without the help of AI? How would I go about getting this data and automating it via a script that can just pull it out for me and render it in the right format? Well, if we think about it, first, I got to go to the web page where I was just gathering all of that data. So in here, like the analytics data, I need to look at the HTML source and find the relevant areas of where I want the data. So in this case, I want the views data, and I need to write JavaScript that can then capture that, scrape the HTML, find the right element that has the data that I need. In this case, this debug metric value or some sort. So that's going to take me some time to go and do that. Just identify the HTML that contains the data. And if there's a unique way, I can do that too, right? Because maybe there isn't a unique identifier for each of these elements that has the data that I need to capture and then use it in calculations, right? So take into consideration the amount of time it might take to do that. On top of that, I need to write the logic for the various calculations in order to get the metrics that we need for the report. So the week over week difference, the total program stats and percentage change, the total channel stats and percentage change. Now, again, this is based off of that Snyk report. My channel report would be just week over week and total channel stats here. And last but not least is then some logic to format the output that's printed to the console so that I could just copy and paste it into the report and not have to do any additional formatting as well. It saves time there. So taking all of that into consideration, How much time do you think it would take an average developer to implement all that successfully and accurately week in and week out in order to generate the report that we need? Maybe, let's say 2 days on average, being conservative, or maybe a little bit, generous in that regard. 2 to 3 days, let's say. So that's still under the 5-day time frame in terms of that XKCD that says, is time worth it? So can we cut that down even further? Can we get this done within the next few minutes in this video? Let's see if AI can help us out. All right, now it's time to build the automation with AI to see if it'll save us time in the long run. In this case, we're going to be using GitHub Copilot Edit feature, which is their agentic mode, if you will, and the O3 mini model for this purposes here. So let's get that started. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go start with the process of what I would do manually, which is go grab the HTML from the web page, the analytics page, and bring that into here so that I can send that to the AI to start building off of from there. All right, so starting from the top of the report, we need to get the main video with the title and link for that, and then the 5 YouTube Shorts videos with the title and link for those. So the way we're going to do that is in YouTube Studio. I went to the page for the main videos here, and I'm just going to go and tell myself to copy the HTML and bring it over into Visual Studio Code so that the AI can use that. We're going to create a new file, call it 1.html, and then paste the contents into there, save it. And now we can go into GitHub Copilot. Now the key thing here, once Prettier is done formatting things, let's just skip it for now, is you need to be using Visual Studio Code Insiders with this, and then switch it from edit mode to agent mode, and then choose the model you want. In this case, I'm going to use O3 mini as mentioned earlier. So now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to tell it what I need it to do. I need to get the latest video in the list and capture the title and URL for it. Can you help create a JavaScript script to do that? Okay, and I hit enter, send it in there. Okay, I sent it in. Now GitHub Copilot is thinking about it. It's generating things. It's using that one reference, which is the HTML. So it's going to parse out the HTML for me to find the correct area wherever in this big, what is that, 1 million? No, 179,000 lines of HTML here. Is it done? Is it done yet? It is. Okay, below is an example. You may need to adjust the selectors, .video item and title, and the way the URL is captured, for example, from an anchor element, so they match your actual markup. For example, that's interesting. It didn't format the code nicely. I wonder, maybe because we're using O3 mini, it rendered that way. Let's try it against Claude Sonnet 3.5. Give it the same prompt. Okay, so it looks like O3 mini is not really working that well where it's gonna run in agentic mode or agent mode, but Claude 3.5 Sonnet is indeed doing what I expected to do. You see the generating edits that was happening down here. We can see, let me add the JavaScript code to your HTML file. So it even did that. Let's go to the end of this file. I didn't really want it to add it in here, but that's okay. And then it's explaining what it did. Okay, so let me add the code to your HTML file. It did that. To use this script, you'll need to adjust 2 CSS selectors based on how your videos are structured in the HTML. The script will run automatically when the page loads and output the data, the title, URL of the latest video in the browser. Let's analyze this code that it did. So we have add event listener when DOM, document object model content loaded. That event gets fired. It's going to run this function. It's going to go and get all video items. Make sure the length is not equal to 0, otherwise there's no videos found. And it's going to get the last video based on length -1. Extract the title, adjust the selector based on your actual title elements class. So title is like that. And then extract the URL, assuming the video element contains an anchor tag with the video URL. So this is interesting. It's just making an assumption instead of actually looking at the HTML for the link there. All right, so we're going to grab everything in here and try to just run this in the browser to see how it works. So open up the console here, clear out that, paste this in. Illegal return statement. Where did I put a return statement? We're going to comment this out, save it, copy it, go back to the browser, clear that, and now we got it. It's working. Yay. Okay, that's kind of it. However, if you notice, one, the URL is not going to be accessible to everybody unless you have access to our YouTube Studio. So I need to change that up a bit. But it did get the title of the video and a link with the video ID, essentially, is what we really need out of that. So all I need to do is format the URL a little bit more, and then this will be done in terms of getting that video. And then we got to get the shorts. This is turning out to be super time consuming. Okay, I need the URL to be modified so that it uses the public URL for the video and not the YouTube Studio edit URL. Can you adjust things to support that in this get latest video.js script? Let's see what it does. As of right now, I'm not thinking AI is solving this meme. Whoa, what did it do? Okay, let's keep it and let's look what it's doing. If URL includes studio, extract video ID from there. Okay, that's fine. I think that's fine. Regex? We're going to use a regex? That's not where I would have went with it, but okay. Okay. I'm not sure what that regular expression does. Let's give it a shot. Clear this, paste it in. Illegal return statement. Okay, we're getting rid of this. Cannot edit in read-only mode. What are we talking about? This is the beauty of using insiders where it's daily builds of things. Okay, we're just going to manually remove that. Paste that in there. Identifier URL has already been declared. Refresh the page. Paste this in. Remove that. Send it. Okay. It still kept the edit in there though. All right, I'm just going to remove that myself. No thanks to AI. Video ID, right? And then dot replace / edit with nothing. Okay. Let's try this again. Okay, I fixed it. All right, so that's good. We're getting there. And then the last thing I need to do is format it actually. So instead of just logging it like that, we're going to say latest video is going to be like that. And then we're going to do some string template literal, title URL, but then we're going to go and put it in markdown format so that it's quick and easy to copy paste later on. Now, if we run this, we should be good to go copying it like that. Cool. All right. So we got the latest video. So now we need to do the same thing for YouTube Shorts, which in this case, we can just do this 5 times, the latest 5 videos, instead of just that query selector for the first one. We say query selector all. So let's copy this, paste it, rename this to get latest shorts. Okay. In this case, we're going to change this to query selector all. That has that. Let's rename this to video titles, title elements. So now that that is set up, all right, let's have the AI handle doing this now. Okay, now update this script to get the title and URL for the most recent 5 videos on the page. All right, it has got something going on. Modifying the script to get the title and URL for the 5 most recent videos by selecting multiple video title elements and their corresponding URLs. Has it changed anything? Oh, it's changing get latest video. Why? I told it to do it in get latest shorts. No, please make these changes in the get latest shorts.js file. All right, query selector all, title elements, length, minimum 5. Got to get rid of this illegal return. Let's try and use these and see what happens when we do that on the shorts page. All right, so now I'm going to paste this into the shorts view that we have here. Hit enter, and we got first one, second one, third one, fourth one, and fifth one. Perfect. Pretty good, minus the edit part there, which we'll have to clean up and do right here. Dot place / edit with that, an empty string. So we have all that. Then we just change this to console log. We don't need this number. Make it into markdown. So we put it in square brackets. We don't need that. We don't need the URL like that. Put it in parentheses. All right. So pause for a moment in this quick time lapse. I have a script for getting the latest video on the videos page, a script for getting the latest 5 shorts videos, and in a markdown format so that I can quickly and easily use them and copy and paste them into a report. So the next step is to get the analytics data and the metrics on the number of views and subscribers for the week over week, and then overall for that period of time that the program's been going. So I'm going to go work on that now with AI. So it's checking the full contents of the HTML to understand its structure better. Good. Take your time. Do your thing. Okay. Scrapeviews.js. Let's take a look at what's going on in there. See what it does. Okay. I noticed that the HTML file seems to be a YouTube Studio Analytics page. Oh, that's cool. Oh, it's not truncated. Why is it saying it's truncated? That's misleading. All right. Let's try this. Let's run it. So I'm going to have to help the AI here a little bit because it's not finding things correctly. We ran the script. It comes up with nothing. We need to, again, help it out with reading the HTML because it's just struggling. So it looks like based on my analysis of the HTML, there is an element, a custom element, a UTA, YouTube Analytics, and there's a class called total row that wraps the view data that I need here. And then I think the same thing happens on the comparison. Yes, the comparison is also wrapped in a class total row. So we can tell the AI to focus on that to get the data it needs instead of trying to parse it based on that, whatever it was doing before. I'm going to go do that now. All right, so at this point, I have a script, thanks to the help of AI, that will basically adjust between subscriber count and views count, capturing that data using the correct dates. So you can see there, it was switching between those different views. And then we get a program weekly stats in Markdown and the total subscribers. And if I put that in the draft report, let's put this, this is manual report. Let's put scripted report. We paste that in here and we see the output of that. There we go. That's working pretty good. Okay, so we got that done. It's got the dates right, February 11th to the 17th. Just the numbers might be off, probably because of the date range that's being used here. Did I use the right date range on that view? Well, oh, that's what it's doing. The math is wrong. 0 minus 0 is +1, so that's why that's coming up +1. And then the video views being -13 versus 15. Let's switch back over to video views. Did I do my math wrong? Yeah, I did my math wrong. I did the math wrong in the manual report. So there's a mistake of having it done by myself. I don't know why I chose -15. That is wrong. It is -13. So this is correct, and this is just incorrect because of the math calculation, which I'll just adjust in the script here so that if it is a negative number, it will indeed show that way. Okay. So next, I'm going to work with the AI to build out the script for not just week over week, but the entire lifetime from April 8th up until the current date. So we'll come back in at that point. All right, so I have a script now that does indeed work for getting the whole channel data up to the April 8th date from last year. And when I come into here and I have that set up to compare against those two time periods, I hit enter. After I paste in this script, thanks to the help of AI, it does indeed show the total number of views accrued and new subscribers compared between the two date ranges that we have here, April 8th up until a week ago and April 8th up until the current day. And then I can copy and paste that into this draft report again. So we got video views week by week, video views and subscribers for the total program. And then I forgot to copy and paste in the latest shorts and videos, but we saw that as well before. So now that we used AI to help accelerate building out a script to automate some of the process of gathering the data for this report that I have to do, was it worth the time? Well, let's go back to that XKCD and talk about this. The reality is, for me to capture the data, it takes me somewhere around 5 to 10 minutes, right? That's what if we look back before, what we wrote in the report, the result was about 10 minutes. So if we go based off of that, looking at this, we double the 10 minutes. So long as I got that done within less than 21 hours, or double that, 42 hours, but we definitely got it within less than 21 hours. I completed this script using AI to help accelerate that. It was indeed worth the time, I think. It's going to save me that 10 minutes each week that it takes me to actually manually gather the data. I can use those scripts, copy and paste, and do the rest of the reporting, send it out, and be done with it in a much quicker fashion than I was doing previously. All that said is that's just this one case. That may not work still, even with AI helping accelerate this. So in my opinion, I don't think in every scenario AI is going to help solve this meme. Just like I don't think in every scenario AI is going to be the best solution to help you solve a problem that you're running into when building out your software. But I'm curious, after watching this, after thinking about how it could be applied to your scenarios and repetitive tests that you have to do, what are your thoughts? Do you think AI can truly accelerate your workflow and solve this meme? Or are you skeptical? Let me know in the comments below. But that does it for this video. If you got value out of it, be sure to like it down below and share it with someone who could put it to use. And if you made it this far, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on upcoming videos. Thanks for watching and happy, safe coding, everyone.